our webinar today from Help Systems in Minneapolis. That's our headquarters, of course, in the Minneapolis area. Happy to be with you again today with a webinar on Robot HA. HA is affordable and easy to use with Robot HA, and it doesn't have to be too expensive and so complicated. And I'm here to say I talk to a lot of customers on IBMI platform, and I find many complicated environments, and they've been over-engineered in my mind. So we're here to help make your life a little easier in this area of very high importance. If you look at the annual IBMI marketplace study, the last 4 years, high availability was #2 on that list. And we don't make it up. We just ask the survey questions and we present the results. So happy to be here with you today. This event is being recorded. So if you like what you see or you want to share with somebody at a later point in time, or you have to leave early, we can share that with you. We also have Q&A, so you can certainly ask questions. We got a couple polling questions with us today, and then we're going to do some live demo as we go through today's presentation. So again, Tom Huntington, Executive Vice President of Technical Solutions, longtime veteran of Help Systems. I've been with Help Systems this June, will be 34 years. I'm also an IBM Power Champion for the last 8 years. Looking forward, hopefully some of you will be at the annual Common event in New Orleans this year, May 22nd. I'll be at that event. We'll have a little trade show booth there, also doing a few sessions. Very excited. Joined by Carlos Nolting from our Spanish office in Barcelona. Carlos, how are you doing today? A little bit about your background.
Thank you, Tom. Very nice, very great to be here with you, and thank you all have joined us today. Yes, I am solutions engineer here in the office in Barcelona for the EMEA market, and my background is 31 years before when I touched my first ACE400, big white box
Yes.
B14 or B15, B50 system. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot
they
of
were
years
quite
ago.
big.
Yes.
Yeah, much bigger than a refrigerator.
Yes. The first time I will, what is this? This is an IBM ACE400. Wow.
Well, I think everything was big back then, Carlos. We just kind of forget, right? Don't we? Yeah. So short agenda today. What is Robot HA? Why we think we are so affordable, and what makes us easy to use. So I'll be walking you through those things. Carlos is going to be doing our live demo. We have a polling question. We want to know why you're here today. You have several options why you're here today. You can select all that apply. My current vendor is too expensive. Current vendor support is lacking. I have a customer that just bought Robot HA yesterday, and that was their complaint. They just could not get reliable support on their current solution. Anytime they had any issues, somebody else set it up, they didn't know how it worked, all those kinds of things. We don't have an HA solution. According to my marketplace study, we see probably anywhere from 45% to 60% of the market doesn't have a high availability DR solution that I would call really up to the minute. Your solution is hard to manage. You're responsible for backup and disaster recovery, so you're just here. This is your area of expertise, and you need to follow up on these things. Okay. All right. Well, current vendor is too expensive is the top one. We don't have an HA solution is #2, along with you are responsible for backup and disaster recovery, so you're just here, and it's good to get educated. Well, fantastic, you're at the right spot here. Let's move on here. We'll close our and share the results here. I always forget to do that, and we'll hide the thing here. So now let's talk Robot HA. Just at a high level, Robot HA is basically data replication. It's replicating libraries, IFS directories, object authorities, system values, user profiles, network attributes, configuration attributes, basically everything you need to replicate in order to switch over to your backup box. So when Robot HA, we talk about production and backup box. We feel we're a simpler solution to set up, easier to administer, and cost effective. We do work with customers that are going to the cloud. We work with customers that are migrating, doing system maintenance. We have some customers that are just using us for a BI repository on the target system. So a lot of reasons for technology like this. And also we have customers, we integrate Robot HA with Power HA. Help Systems also works on the IBM Power HA technology here at Help Systems. So this is always a powerful diagram in my mind. So to clear up any confusion on journaling, the items that you can actually journal on IBMI are physical files, data queues, data areas, and IFS. And these can be done in real time, and they work with both local and remote journals. So locally, we say, okay, here's a library, let's journal everything in it that can be journaled. We attach a remote journal. And so they underneath the covers of IBMI is automatically transferring the journal receiver sequences from system 1 to system 2. And then what we're doing on the target side, we're applying those journal changes to the database over there. Now, there are other objects in your libraries like programs, queries, job descriptions, job queues. We pick those up in an interval process that runs every so many minutes. In today's world, with change control and all those things, you might only be changing your application library from a program perspective, once a week, once a month. And so we'll pick those things up that are net new and we'll transfer those underneath the covers with TCP/IP socket programs, basically to get them from system A to system B. But basically it's a save file of what's changed. And we don't read the audit journal like several of the other products do for object changes. We use save change object APIs, much more efficient. Then of course, we do use the audit journal for authorization lists, object authorities, user profile, system values, spool files, and we'll also manage that. Important point, when you implement HA, you have to determine who's going to control the audit journal, your security products or a product like Robot HA. We have those discussions with you when we set up services. And then of course, schedule entries, TCP/IP configuration, web definitions, those items are saved to save files and then they're staged. So we get ready for the role swap. We stage them in a temporary library holding spot in case you have to do that role swap. And again, with HA, all systems are technically active. So with our role swap, our experience has been 15 to 20 minutes. We have customers that are doing 5 minutes. We have just one or two that maybe take an hour, but it's really more application oriented than it is really the speed of Robot HA. But we do support full role swaps, and that's pretty standard stuff. Our role swaps run from the console. We'll start the role swap in a planned situation from the main production server, and then we'll switch over and run from the target side and switch it over that way in a planned role swap. If you have a disaster, you can go right to the target and run your role swap right from there and obviously start running your business on the target. Now, there's also the concept of virtual role swaps or test while active role swaps or whatever you want to call it. We support that too. In this case, what we're doing is production's running. We're basically holding the journal process and we're making the target box look like it's the production box. And what we do is we test out over here. And then when we're done with the test, we just switch it back to becoming the backup box again and start our connections up and away we go. So we also support that. Now, there are several benefits of Robot HA. Easy to use, understand, and you'll see that in Carlos's demo. Self-healing, one of the customers we replaced on another product called iCluster. The biggest problem they were having is that whenever the network failed, iCluster stopped. And because we have an automatic syncing process that runs every so many minutes, we pick up and get things going again. And then we've also integrated things with Halcyon and robot products from a monitoring perspective, so it can fit into those needs. We do have customer support around the globe, very reliable, very knowledgeable team, and also a services team that can help you out with role swaps, implementing the product, converting from your current vendor. They are help train you, educate you, and then you got our, again, our support staff, which is available for you for support. So that's Robot HA. Why are we so affordable? Why do we say we're affordable? Well, we are instance-based. We don't charge for any kind of lateral hardware changes or movement. That regards, our pricing is very competitive compared to the rest of the solutions that are out there. And you'll find that out when you work with our sales team, and they'll be able to provide you quotes to meet your needs in that regards. Some of the intangibles that I say we're affordable is we coach you about HA. We're not only going to just sell a product, install it, and say goodbye to you. We want you to understand the importance of recovery time objective, recovery point objective. What's a CBU? I'm amazed the number of customers that have never heard about capacity backup units. That is a reduced price hardware that you can get from IBM so that your target box isn't the same cost as your production box. Yet I see people buying 2 full production boxes, and you don't really need to do that. So CBU, or capacity backup unit. And then journaling, we have some great webinars, training material on just the topic of journaling. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm doing at Common is speaking on journaling. So our services team too is very experienced. These things are all going to help you save money because they are experienced by working with other customers. They're comfortable with doing role swaps. We want to get you there. And then another affordable part of it is just the product's easy to navigate and understand and get started with. So what makes us easy? So part of what makes us easy is there are a lot of other customers on IBMI that are using other products from Help Systems. So if you're using any of the robot products, you're familiar with RBO. You type in RBO on a command line and you see a menu of all the robot products. Well, Robot HA is just option 25 off of that. It is a very traditional Help Systems menu. We've been working this space for 6 years. One of the very first things we did is organize the product and make it a lot simpler to build your rules at the library and directory level. And then we also go with the one library, one journal concept. Several of the other products out there have the concept of data groups and other things like that, and it just really complicates and lends itself to almost like go-to logic if you have any kind of programming background. It's really spaghetti code and hard to decipher in a lot of cases. And then we have this great self-healing interval process that keeps things rolling. So as you can see, option 25, pretty straightforward, is where Robot HA is. And by the way, your licensing you can do from here. Your system information can all be found from here on this easy to use menu. Typical thing with Help Systems, we put the release level of our software into the screen. You can see you're on the production server quite easily. And then you got 7 very clean, easy to understand options. Option 1 is where you put the rules in and where you see how the product's doing. Start and stop the product here. There's some system setup things you do from option 3, some reports, history. We have an audit menu that makes sure that you're ready to do role swaps. And then our last option is the role swap menu. Here we're working with synchronization attributes. Carlos is going to take us through this in greater detail, but what we can see here is what libraries are we replicating? Where are they going to? What server are they going to? What's the target library name? If there's any special sets. So one of the things that we can do is if you have a really big library and you want to create multiple paths for it, we can break it up. Or in the case of banking industry, we'll often find, like with Fiserv customers, they have an audit specifically for banking audits. We can include omit objects. That's what these I's and O's mean. You might want to omit all the data queues for some reason, or certain data areas. The name of the sync apply job that's running over on the target side or on the local system, and then the local journal that you're using. A lot of great easy options. You can go in and add, work with your attributes, delete. Some of the products you have to shut down everything to be able to even add a rule to it or delete a rule. We can keep Robot HA rolling and do all those things. We can, from here is where option 8 is the sync, where we get started. We also can drill into the journals themselves and see the receiver sequences and the content, or we can work with the journaling, which gets us into remote and local journaling. There's option 14 to work with the jobs. There's also an option 16 to do a comparison, and a few other things that you can do, like you can end journaling, remote journaling, and your sync jobs right from this screen. So a lot going on here. But the other thing too is if there's any errors, you can always see those right here. And this screen allows you to sort by any rules in error. And our goal is so you don't have any errors ever when you go in here, but sometimes obviously those communication lines, things like that go down. But it's very easy to see. We take option 6 if we want to add another rule in. And one of the things I talk about, this self-healing process, every 2 minutes in this case, this job, the sync job is going to be running. It's going to check this library, look for any new objects, and send them to the target side. Also, if the communication lines were down, it's going to restart the apply or the journal receiver process and and making sure things are getting to the target. Easy to see the sequence number here, the last receiver processed, all those things are very visible in the product and not hidden. Then F11, you can get into the IFS area here, and very simple too. If you want to add an IFS rule, you press F6, and the next thing you know, you're into the product. So F11 again, and the next thing you know, we see our system replication features where we can replicate authorization lists, configuration data, private authorities, and user profiles. Again, those are really needed for your role swap, and we make sure that those things are all in place over on the target system. You can see we're using the audit journal here. We're not using the audit journal for the configuration. This information gets saved to a library and put on a library on the target system called RSF config prod, and we use that during the role swap. So as we promised, we're going to do a live demo, and Carlos, I'm going to switch it over to you and make you
Yes.
presenter. Okay,
Yes,
so let me,
please.
there you go.
Then I can show my screen. You can see my screen, Tom, yes?
Yes, I can. Right now, we're seeing the system able.
Perfect, perfect. Then, okay, then as you explained, RBO is the main menu of all
Right.
Robot HA products. 25 is Robot HA. And then synchronization attributes, we can see all current synchronization attributes of libraries that are copied to the backup system. Then what we can do very easy is to add a new library. I can press here 21, create lib test HA, okay, work object PDM, hide demo, I think I library, yes, this library, it's okay, and then I can copy, 3333 and maybe 33333 and copy to the new library that is test HA, okay? Then I copy all this, then if I change to this library, test HA, I have a small library, okay? Then I copy this to the clipboard, and it's very easy to add a new library, F6, paste, no, it's paste, no problem with paste. Okay, then test HA, yes, F4 to select the system. We can send to multiple system if we can have a production system and one or more, or two or three other backup system. Normally we have only one backup system from library to the same library.
But that is
set name default.
That is an important point, Carlos. We can actually target one library to multiple systems and or even to the system itself. People can use Robot HA to maybe create development test libraries or something like that. I've had many customers ask about that. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No problem, no problem. Then we set in this case, okay, 5 minutes, and the Robot HA manages the journal, creates the journal for us, and there are a lot of options that is not important in this moment, but we have, if we want, we can include some by generics, some names and type of objects, and include an omit, and some other options. It's not important at this moment. By default, I press enter. Then the Robot HA creates both journals in both systems very quickly, as you can see, and here is created but not replicated. Now let's synchronization not replicated. Then it's very easy. Option 8. Then I press F9 to check the job is currently saving all the library, saving and sending to remote system. And then, okay, it's ended, and now is synchronized. Okay, now it's synchronized. Okay, then if I run here work lib pdm on the backup box with test star, yes, here is the new library. Okay, and perfect. All the programs and files. Something that I can do is option 14 to work with objects with PDM, and for example, this one, diff-u. And obviously, if I run this on both, the result is the same, okay? And something that I can do is move to the second record to check and look at this. I can enter something like this, enter to change the record, one more enter, and now this is modified immediately in milliseconds. Is modified the record in the backup box. Okay.
Is that what we say? Is that when we say voila?
Yes, yes, yes. The first time I see this is what? Is this immediately? It's milliseconds, incredible. Yes.
Yeah.
And something that we can do even is, for example, if we delete this file, for example, this file is here, obviously. If I delete, enter, F5 is removed. And all options related, all actions related to files, data areas, data queues, and IFSs immediately. Other objects like programs, display files, this is checked by the product every 5 minutes. Every minute is totally up to you. Okay. Then we can move here. Perfect. And as you explained, there are 4 screens in this. You change with F11. The first one is our libraries. The second one are IFS, and with F6 you can add other IFS directories. F11 moves to the group of libraries if you want, and if you want or need to group libraries in a group, like data groups in Mimics, then you can create a group like this one, and with this, all files in all libraries connected to this group use the same journal and use the same job, applying job. This is very important. Normally for commitment control, it's very important to group libraries, but by default, the product creates one journal and one job for each library. Is much easy to maintain and to understand. Okay. And finally, there are other options to authorization lists, configuration, private authorities, and user profiles that is replicated to the backup box at intervals. It's very easy to understand. Something that I want to note is we have also developed a conversion utility for Mimics data groups and configurations. With this utility, we read the current Mimics setup and convert it to the format used by RobotHA. And thanks to this, over the past few months, we have performed several conversions from customers using Mimics to RobotHA product in a much automated way. Yes, it's a nice tool we have to move from Mimics to our product in less than 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Yes.
Yep, and the actual, switch over time, according to our service group, it takes, less than a couple hours to do the actual switch over time from Mimics to Robot HA. So there is planning, like everything you need to do some planning, but then we'll actually do a takeover. And actually that's true. Mimics, we happen to have that conversion transition program in there, but something like iTerra or iCluster, we could also take over from where they left off. But it's one of those things. Carlos and I and our services team, we find a lot of systems that they need a little TLC also before you implement HA, because there's just libraries that are test libraries and other things that we find that need to be cleaned up before you do your replication.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw you off on
that. No problem. Then up to you. You have some more slides? I don't know.
I'm not too many more slides. One of the other things that we always get questions about is, what about the audit? What do you do for auditing? Couple things right from here. You can do option 16 too, or you can go to the audit. Yep, and then we have the swap ready function. This is just a process that runs as often as you want. Typically, most of the time, we'll set it up for every 2 hours. And what it'll do is it'll go out and check your system to make sure that you're role swap ready. It is not a detailed data type audit that some of you may be thinking about, but the idea is that it will send you a report, and it's got a series of steps that we can check independent of the replication process to make sure that you're ready for a role swap. So that's the idea there.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Carlos, for that quick demo, and hopefully you all agree. Pretty easy product to navigate. Let me share my screen with you again here and get us back into the PowerPoint. So, and feel free to ask questions if you'd like. And let's have another polling question here before we wrap up things here today. How would you like us to follow up? I will say one of the things that I find very valuable is I take a lot of customers through all the different high availability options that there are today. That's something I do for customers. Robot HA demo, Carlos and I both can do that for you, and other people on our staff can help out with those demos too. Security, we know security is on everybody's mind. So would you be interested in a free security scan? And another thing we do is health checks. So you might own some of our software, whether it's PowerTech, Robot, SQL, whatever. We also do health checks where we take and look at the software, make sure you're getting everything out of it that you'd want. Pricing on Robot HA, our sales team can certainly work with you to give you some pricing so that you get a better understanding of why we feel we're affordable. I think you'll agree once you get that for you. So, in today's webinar, we talked about ease of use, implementation, and maintaining Robot HA. We do feel that high availability shouldn't be that hard. As a customer, you should be able to get into the product and at least do some basic understanding of what's in your product, and then also to be able to do the role swaps. You don't have to be the system expert. As long as you can get to the system console, we want you to be able to do a role swap. And if you don't know how to do that, our support team is here to help you out with those things. At Help Systems, we continue to grow. So we have pretty much any cybersecurity solution that you'd like, and we can help you out with that too at Help Systems. So that's the robot solution of products. Robot HA fits into our high availability and backup and recovery. Another part of doing HA sometimes is capacity planning. We'd like to do a service around that to make sure you understand how much volume you're having. We get a lot of questions about network, moving to the cloud, all those kinds of things, and we help people out with better understandings of that. And then from a cybersecurity perspective, we have a ton of solutions to help you out with IBM security, but don't forget, we also have solutions for Windows, Unix, and Linux in the cybersecurity space. We can do everything from manage your security day to day for you, protect you from email phishing, help you manage file transfers, protect the data, encrypt the data. All those things can be done. And actually vulnerability and pen testing too. We do a ton of that for the non-IBM type technology. So Carlos, just a couple of questions. Can you journal everything in the IFS?
Yes, obviously. No, sorry, no. QDLS, I think QDLS cannot be journaled, by the other directories can be journaled, yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. And a lot of people, one of those questions that come up, and if you're using the old folder support, you can't journal that. So stop doing that is what I tell people. You should be using
Yes.
the regular standard IFS technology today so that we can replicate it real time. So you can go in and add a PDF to an IFS directory, and with Robot HA, boom, it's over on the next nanosecond, sitting over there on the target system. It's quite incredible, as Carlos said earlier. Any recommendations for somebody who's new to journaling is a question that I have. It must be from like a business partner. And one of the things that I was thinking about, Carlos, is that we did a webinar a while back on the basics of journaling, and that's out on our website too. It's an on-demand webinar, so certainly pick that up. We did that as part of Common, so if you're a Common member, you can get into that webinar from there too and have it on demand. So awesome. Well, we appreciate the few questions that we had today. If you have any questions, you can find Carlos and myself out on LinkedIn. That's a good way of connecting up with us and getting started. If you have questions, we appreciate you filling out the last survey question, and we'll use that for our sales team to get back to you on Robot HA technology. Carlos, it's been fun doing another webinar with you, and we learn something new every day, and we're in the HA space, and we also learn something new just in general on helping customers out. So thank you again, Carlos. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for your expertise and to invite me to this nice webinar.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.